Okay, I didn't say nothing because I had an error earlier. I had to actually reset all this project. Is a testing project that I have a copy of my main project, but for some problems, since I'm doing too many tests and tests, sometimes problems occur when you actually don't care about the project. So there was some conflicts. I tried to use Game Creator 1 with Game Creator 2 for some other reasons, and yeah. Anyway, I what I've done over here, I created two pickups, which is the sword metal and sword wood. Now we have the player over here. We will add a bag, and on the bag we have to add an equipment for to know where the things go, and an inventory. Then we have to add a couple of triggers, like for example, this one it will be open bag, and another one which it will be close bag. So this one it will be on input button, say on tab. It will actually open the bag UI, and then it will set active some stuff, like for example it will set active to close the bag. It will activate the trigger, and self it will get disabled, otherwise it will still stay active, and open close it will just keep going. Input button, keyboard press, and over here on tab, and we will say close bag, and I hope that this action actually works because I don't see over there nothing, but anyway we will test that. So this one it will activate back to be able to open the bag, and this one self it will close. Let's test until here if everything works. We don't have the interact button. Okay, so instead of the trigger equip over here, we will put interact. I don't think it's on interact, it's actually on input, if I remember correctly, because the input and over here is an interact, because there is the predefined interact button. Player do interact, and this one we will call it not equip, we'll call it interact. Let's see if it's working. Always test, test, test. And we have the two swords, but since we have only one slot over here, there is only on the right hand, it will switch between them. But we want to equip both swords. Let's say that we're not gonna have two swords, we will have a sword and a bat. This is a little bit weird because it was supposed to have a sword wood and a sword metal, and over here I don't have a sword wood, so I will override this. Let's see now. So as I said, I will change this. For changing this, we will have to find the UI default inventory, and we go 2D. Now this is the right hand and the left hand, and both of them over here, as you see, they have another type of slot. We will put both for the reason of this test. We will put right hand. So now it will get equipped. If the first slot is busy, the second weapon it will go in the other slot, which is the same equipment slot. If you don't know how the equipment works, there is the documentation on Game Creator Hub website. So let's test. Actually, I have to override this. Apply, and let's test if that's true. So I will equip this, and then I'll equip this. So I have something that is not working how it's supposed to be. Now, why is that? I think we have to see the equipment. I have done some changes over here. Nope. Sword metal, right hand, sword, right hand. Maybe it's because this one has got another one which is called equipment. Okay, let me test in this one the author to see. No. Here I found the problem. So the thing is in the equipment of the player. Slot 1 equipment over here. We have to duplicate this one, and the left hand actually is gonna become even this one right hand. Okay. Yep. Let's test it now. Whip, whip. Now the problem is with the icon. The rest is working. I can see them in on my back. I don't get it why the icon is different. It's the same. Um, Maybe because it's taking the same thing, so I have to say right hand, the other right hand. Yeah, that's the trick. So over here we override now with inventory active, otherwise it's not gonna get activated. Yeah, in some way I'm happy that I've done this, because otherwise some people they might ask, then how did you do that? How did you do this other one thing? Here it is. Now we have two icons, different icons. So until over here everything is working. Now here is the thing. I equipped the weapon on the back of my player, and I can see the stats on. Let's suppose that you change the inventory and you have another panel where you see the stats of your player, and when you equip a shield or a weapon, your stats like power, the total power and the total vitality and shield and everything, it's actually increasing or decreasing, depends on the weapons that you have. Because in most of the games you put an equipment on the player, most RPG, let's say MMO, and it's increasing your stats as a player. But this is when you have the items on you. But with the original melee module, you equip the weapon directly on you. Okay, so you're not gonna put the player to stay with the weapon always going around the map like a madman, like. So you have to tell him when you are in combat, when not. So for that is another action is called equip melee weapon, which we'll use it in the moment. Actually, let's create those triggers now. Game creator, visual scripting trigger, and we also say this equip slot 1, and we will duplicate this, and this one it will be called 2. Whenever you are in a game, probably you have more than 1, 2, you have 3, 4, 5, and so, and you press on digit 1 because it's representing the slot 1, which is binded to, and you equip the first weapon, and then you press 2 or 3, depends on, based on the key that you press, you switch to that weapon. Okay, you switch to that weapon. So over here we will say on input, since it will be on a button, keyboard press digit 1, it will do something like equip weapon, melee weapon, and it will be a sword weapon. Here comes the first problem, because we may have two different weapons or more weapons, and if I press number 1, it will not know which sword weapon you actually equip. But before doing that, I need to take the weapon from my back and put it on my hand. So let's do it with this one first. Let's put it from back to hand, and then we will see the rest. Okay, let's go on the sword weapon over here. This is the original, and we have on equip over here attach prefab. But instead of attach prefab, what we will do, we will use the instance. Instance means, and I will show you, whenever you actually take those swords over there and you equip them, if you go on your player, you'll see that on normal equip, they will appear on his back over here. So this is the player, and we are over here on the spine, which represent the back of the player, and I equip this one, and look over here, it's appearing the sword wood equip, which is actually this prefab that we have on our back. The same, if we actually equip this one, it will appear another one, and this is called the metal equip. Okay. Now these two are called instance because they become instantiated on my back. If I unequip them, they get destroyed from my back. So here we use this trick for equip, not equip, getting instance, since it's getting actually enabled once it's getting instantiated, this game object. Okay. we will have to find this instance and say to him, hey, I want from here to go on my right hand, which is over here, right shoulder, right arm, and so on. Okay, somewhere here it has to go. So that's where become the instance action. Over here we say attach this instance, which means that we'll actually take that instance from where it is and it will move it wherever you want. So we want to move it to the right hand of the player. Now the position over here, I'm not going to stay now to put it very good, but we have to know how to find that instance. Since we know that this sword weapon over here, let's call it metal. In this way we know to which one we actually refer. Since this sword is for the metal one, we will have to find that sword metal, but we can find it in two ways. One, it will be to find the game object, find by name, and we will say find, as you saw over there, equip sword metal clone. You have to write even the clone in the title, and it will search all the hierarchy. I have to tell you that this thing is not actually the best thing because it is taking some CPU performance to actually do this. But it might be another trick where, now that I'm thinking about, I didn't test it, but in the end it's actually the same thing because it will have to find a slot one. No, I'm gonna stick to what I've done in the other project. It's the same thing. Maybe if I'm gonna find another solution, I will set. So what it will search over here, it will search for the for a string that I have it over there. But how do I know to which slot I'm referring to? Because there are many slots. Okay. For doing that, I have to know on which slot I actually get equipped. So I have to create a global variable name, and let's say um, weapon equip slot. Now on this weapon equip slot global variable, I will have to create one variable that it will be a string. Now I don't know exactly what name I will put, but let's see. Um, how do I tell him, how do I know which slot is getting equipped? Let's do again the test and let's see the trick, just for showing you. I'm taking the both weapons and this is the inventory which got instantiated. Now if we go in the section over here, equipment, and we go on these two, we go in the scene mode, you'll see this is the right hand and this is the left hand. Okay, and this is the normal default one, but here is what I've done in this trick. So I will go again, this one. I will create an empty and I will call it slot one. And actually no, I will call it equipped. And if we go on the equip slot one on this long script, you will find one that is called on the equipped UI active is equipable. You drag this empty over here and this one you get disabled. We will do the same trick for this one. create empty, equipped, and disabled, and we go here and equipped UI, active is equipable, we drag this. Now UI default inventory, override the change, and I will show you what is happening when you equip actually this weapon normally. Let's expand the section, equipment. So this is a slot 1, slot 2. See, equipped over here, it's turned off. Now, if I will equip in the first slot, of course, this one is getting activated. I unequip is getting deactivated. So we use that trick over there to tell him in which slot the weapon have got equipped, because it will be the last weapon equipped. Okay. So on this one, we will create a trigger on enable, because every time when you actually equip a weapon, it will get enabled. Then we will say set string, and we will say set that global variable that we created over there on weapon equip slot. This variable we will tell him slot equipped, and we go here slot equipped, this it will be slot 1. Okay, now we will copy this and we go on the second slot, paste component, and here it will be 2. So now we know which weapon, the last weapon in which slot have gone. Now let's override these changes. Activate, override. Now, since we said over there that the weapon is getting instantiated on the player, as you saw over here, when it's appearing, it's saying metal sword or wood sword. We will use that. Let me log this and use another project. You'll use the equip sword. No, it's not like that. It's sword metal equip. This is the part that is going on our back. We will do a trigger on enable. So this is the item that it's appearing on our back whenever and set name. We will change the name of this object. Instead of saying sword metal equip clone, we will say here self with a string from the variable, global variable, and you have guessed it by now, we're going to tell him which slot have been equipped. So if we equip this sword in the first slot or in the second, it will actually change his name on that. It will not be named anymore sword metal unless we actually unequip back, and when we equip it again, it will change the slot, it will change the name again. Okay, we will do in a moment a test to see it if it's working. I need to add this thing over here too, trigger on enable, change name, and it's weapon equip slot and slot equipped. Okay, let's see that in action. So we take the weapons and I equip the metal one, And from what I see now, it doesn't do it. The second one, it will probably do it because it's taking a second to actually do that. We may add a 0.5 seconds like wait time, or actually give the time to be able to write the global variable and then read this other one. So we will say 0.5 here, and we have to go on the metal sort to sort metal, and we have to do the same thing over here. Probably 0.3, it's better 0.5, but I don't know. You have to try then to switch weapons and see if you get any bugs. Then you try to decrease a little bit the time. I will just leave it like that. I hope that the players, they will not do the Counter-Strike switching stuff with. So let's see, equip, and have changed it over here the name. I will equip the metal one. If you see over there in 0.5 seconds have changed the name. So now we know this one, it will be slot 1, slot 2, so it's the wood one and the metal one. Now, we know which weapon is in which slot it is. But how do I know which weapon I want to equip and where? Let's go back on the project over here. Sword weapon metal. I said that whenever I equip the weapon, it will have to tell me which one I want to change it from my back to my hand. And I need to know the name, okay? Which name to search. So I will go for this weapon equip slot, and I have the equip slot over here, the triggers. I will have to create another one, and I will have to tell him which slot equip this slot. Now I will go here and I will say set string. Whenever I press 1, I will tell him, hey, I want to equip this slot, and I would say slot 1, but this has to be before, before. Okay. And this action over here, I will put here 2, but this one, it will be number 2. So now my sword metal weapon over here, it will have to actually search for the equip this slot, which means that it will find that name over there and it will move it to my hand. Now this, it will work for now with only one item, but then we will have to test with 2 items, okay? So then we will not remove the prefab. Let me search a little bit how I've done it in my other one. In this way, I'm very sure that I'm not doing a mistake somewhere. In the in equip, we actually change the position from our hand to our back where we actually want it. So I will copy this, paste it over here, and we say that we want it on spine, probably spine. Now the position, I'm not gonna stay to put it, it will probably get in a very weird shape, but on unequip over here, Now we leave it like this, since we actually need to test it. So um, it will set this name over there, but we will have to actually tell him to unequip any other weapon that we have on us, because if we want to switch, so it will be melee current equipped and then do the equip. Same over here, paste, and then we want to equip the weapon. Okay, what I will do now, I will add another pickup for the metal to test with two items of the same uh, and let me drag this here to see how that's work. On start, no, this one it will be on input, button, keyboard, press. Whenever I press the number 2, and this one number 1. Okay, so right now I will just take this one and this one, and I equip on me the both weapons. Now you see only one because it's the same position, but now if I press number 1, I equip the number 1 sword, and the number 2 remains on my back. Number 1 have just gone over here on my hand. If I press number 2, the number 2 is going on my hand, and number 1 is going on my back. So I need to create another key. You might have another mechanism, but I will create unequip game creator trigger unequip, which it will be, I don't know, I'll put just on the number 3 slot button. Keyboard press whenever I press 3. Unequip melee weapon current for now equipped. So this is how I've done it in a previous video that I put on YouTube already. So I have this one equipped, this one equipped, and now if I press 1 or 2, 1 or 2, and then 3 is getting unequipped, is out of combat. But if I take this one, for example, and I equip this one too, and now I want 1 and 2, 2 is not gonna work because on the sword over there, we didn't create a melee weapon, which is something like this. We will duplicate this, and we will call this wood. And we have to go here and here comes the other problem now. On the equip over here, we just tell him to unequip any weapon and then set the name of the slot that we want to equip and to search for it and equip, and it will do that. It will search for the weapon that in this case we just set it for one weapon, which is the metal. But In our case, we have games that we have more than probably 100 weapons, so we have to tell him which melee weapon we have. How we do that? Well, we go back before we actually equip the weapon in our hand. We actually get it when we equip it on our slot, the weapon. So when we equip the weapon on the slot, on the inventory, well, let's go over here, background section, equipment. When we go over here, we already know what weapon, which weapon is where. And how do we know that? Because this one is got even a name over here, if you see, but it's a UI name. And I don't know if this we cannot change into a variable. It was much better, but let's see. We will have to add the text somewhere. The problem is that you have to test this to see where the text go and how big it is, because if it's even like very small, some players they will actually notice on the screen that somewhere is something written. So over here I put a text which can appear somewhere over here. As you see, it's not very small actually, it's pretty big. But if we go like number 2, it's gonna be so small that nobody's gonna notice on his screen. This it will be, we will call it name item. So let's go here, and whenever it's getting equipped, it will tell the name of the sword or the item. This one we will duplicate and we will move this one down here. Actually, let me create another one here, it's better. UI legacy text, and we say name item name was better, and we put the text on size 1, and then we go here and we drag this one, and now we will have to override the changes, and let's see if it's actually working like that, if it's actually changing the name over there. Because based on that name we know what weapon is over there. For now it's just saying right hand since it's like that. Equip and equip, and it didn't change the name. Okay, let's see which one it is. It's not that one. Name. Maybe it's this one. Name item over here. And the other one we just set it to none. Yep, it is the other one, metal sword over there. Okay, let's go back and change. So we go here. Equipment UI, name item, and the same for the slot number 2 over here. We just say here none, since I don't remember exactly what was this for, but anyway. And we go down here at the name and we drag the name item here, and now override the change. This video is getting more and more long. which is something that I don't really like it, but it's not an easy task. Probably in the future there will be other solution. So let's see. Section equipment. This one, equip this. Okay, I unequip and I equip this one. Metal sword. So now we have the name of the sword. Um, since we have the name of the item over there, based on that, we can tell on which slot is what. Okay. So we go back in the global variable that we just created over here, and we add another thing which we will call it slot1 weapon melee, and we will add melee and melee weapon, and slot1. Then we create another one, and this it will be number 2. Now we go in the inventory, and since this one it will get enabled, on enable it will have to set it will have to check some conditions. It will have to check some conditions. And it will say if string text equal, and we will say UI text, this one it's equal to sword metal was the name, then we have to set, and here we don't have some things. We have to go on the game creator hub, and I created an action, it's called set melee weapon. Let's install this one. This project already contains a script with the instruction. Oh really? Now that I don't really see it then. Equip set melee weapon. Okay, so we will want to set, yeah, the instruction whatsoever. It needs another couple of scripts which on game creator there wasn't. Now I will download it since I made it today. This one you can put it wherever you want, but the best it will be like this: get weapon, and we see it get not get weapon, is weapon global melee. So if you click on it and then you just do like this, you'll find the address. This is on get types. Now we create here a folder called set, because this it will need to set. Inside we create another one and we call it the weapon, for example. And inside this we actually import these scripts that I will leave it in the description of the video. And there are these 4 over here. Global list, no, global name, local list name, local name. Okay. Now I will leave it to do his things. Probably the game creator, developer, it will add even this. He forgot, or I don't know, he has his own reason. I will try to find out why. No errors. Okay. So let's go back. We said when this is getting enabled, it will check the name of that item. If it's sword metal, then it will have to set the global name variable on the slot 1. We are over here, okay? Weapon equip slot, and we go on slot 1 weapon melee. It will have to select to go with uh, melee weapon, and this is the sword metal, we said, right? Yes. So it will put over there the slot metal. We had another branch. Now this condition, I have to find another solution because you have to check for 100 weapons. This is not gonna be the best solution. I will have to find another solution, but for now let's try it with this, then we will see. If I will say the same, copy paste, name item, it will be sword wood, then it will do over here sword wood weapon. It will put on that. Okay. Now this condition have to be on the same thing over here. And we have to check the conditions, same for this one, rune conditions. The only difference it will be that it will change the slot. It will be for the slot number 2 and the slot number 2. As we are in the slot number 2. Okay. And now we know what weapon we have actually equipped on the player when we actually take it from the inventory and put it on the player. Um, when we actually equip on our hand, over here we are on the slot 1. We actually not taking directly, we are taking a variable, global variable, and we go from the slot 1. On this one we go variable, global, and we go on slot 2. So it will equip the slot 2. Okay. We have to override the changes on the inventory, and let's see if it's actually working. So I have the metal one and the wood one, and I equip it. In the meantime, I want to see even the global variables, what is happening. So I equip this one, but it didn't said over here nothing, which I'm a little bit worried why. Let's see, maybe we didn't actually put the right name. So we said over here on the action, if the name action in the first one is actually sword metal, so it should be sword metal. No, it's metal sword. Oh my god, and the other one, don't tell me it's a wooden sword. Okay, yeah, this is why it was not working. Names, So this one is metal sword, and wooden sword, and we have to go to do the same thing for this. And metal sword. Now we have to override the changes and test again. Equipping the metal sword, and it's equipping the metal sword and equipping, and he says again sword weapon metal Y. Section equipment, might be some problem somewhere with the names. Name item, it's wooden sword. So slot number 2 says if is metal sword, then equip sword metal. If wooden sword, equip sword wood. With the name item. Oh my god, it took the since I copy pasted. Ay 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 ay. Okay, not a big deal. But here is when you actually go and you get crazy because you don't know why problems. This is checking the name item over there. He has to check this name item, and the same have to check over here. It was better to create it from zero, that one. Okay, let's see now. Again, where is the thing? So we equip the metal one and we equip the wood. There they are. Now if I go in the player over here, you'll see that is slot 1 actually, in slot 2 over there is not. Now I press number 1 and I equip the sword, and if I press number 2 I equip the wooden one. Okay, if I press 3 it will go on my back. So again 1 2 1 2. So I can quite do the Counter-Strike thing. I don't really see problems appearing. So 3, if I go and unequip them, and I equip this first and this second, and then I go with the wooden and then metal, wooden, metal, and nothing, and here it is. Wow, that was a very long video. The only problem on this, what I have until now, is the checking conditions when you actually have to check it on the equip. Now this it will occur only on equip, only when you put the weapon on your player, not when you actually switch. But yeah, these conditions, imagine that these branches over here, if you have 100 100 even more, like in my game I have like probably around 15 melee weapons, it will have to check between 15 branches, which is not ideal, because until now everything is working okay, but when I will bring more than 20 branches over here, even Unity, it will start to lag a little bit. So I will have to find for the future some solution for this. I don't really know at the moment what, but if it will come something on my head, I will make an extra video for that. Until then, well, let's hope that you don't make a very big game and you don't have to switch between thousands of weapons. But if you got other solution, please say in the description. And if you like it and you want to support this coffee, it will be appreciated. So yeah, have fun.